Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is a special edition of Sunday Morning How to App on iOS. I love technology, don't you all? We are going to be doing something mental today, and I'm regretting it already. I'm not really. All good in the hood. How do you do, everyone? Good to see you all. Yes, I know. I wished her happy birthday yesterday, Christy Louise. Welcome to the chat. Welcome, everybody, to the chat. Where are we? Cold Acre, g'day. Thank you for admitting the room and the chat. Russ, good day. Scott, Tom Rochelle, Stu Cash, Christy, as I said. Good to see you all. We're going to do something fucking mental today. So what are we going to do today? We're going to take one of my DreadCircus tracks. We're going to take it from GarageBand, and we are going to first we're going to mix down the tracks into individual wave files, the drum tracks and some of the other tracks out of GarageBand, and then we're going to mass import them into Auria Pro, and then we're going to edit them in there. We're going to mix them down, and then we're going to go and do some vocals. And where are we going to do those vocals? Well, we've got a few cameras set up today. So we've got this cam, which will be moving around. So one of my cams decided to just last minute. Here's the deal. So as you'll see here, let's go to this cam now. So what are we? Extra cam 1. Hello! So there we are there. So as you can see, this is my setup at the moment. Ignore all the leads and stuff at the back. It's just because I've had a crazy time setting everything up and no time to clean up cable management. But as you can see, this is how I operate every morning. So I don't have my lights on today because I'm not got a camera facing myself. But I always have everything on my big screen on my TV, so I can see everything nice and clear. Got my iPad here. This is my computer, which is connected up here as well. So I have a Steinberg UR22, Mark II here. I have a pre-Sonus Audio Box 1 over here, which I'm not using today. Normally I would use it for something in my vocal booth. I've got my monitors, which I'm not using today. I've got the cans on. I'm using the Rode microphone for talking here today, but when I move around, and we'll be moving this camera behind me to here, I have a second microphone to move around with. And once we move into recording some vocals, let's hope this is working. That's inside my vocal booth. How cool is that? That's hello. So that's my vocal booth. So that we'll get to a little bit later. As you can see, I'll give you a bit of a wide shot for the vocal booth. Let's pull back a little bit. So there is my vocal booth. Let's use this handheld mic now that I'm away from my main microphone. So this thing I built with PVC piping and some packing blanket. Cost me about $200 to put together. I'm not using any of my guitars today, so they're all just sitting there taunting me. But that is the vocal booth from the outside. And here's a better, wider view of all my gear setup. So I've got my drum kit over to the left. And you may be asking, I'm not going to show you too much of this, but my computer, I think I showed this in my last episode, my hard drives and all that kind of stuff that's connected there. My iPad mini basically just plays the music for the show. And this little box of gadgets is the most valuable thing in this studio. But underneath my desk, here we go. Let's have a look under here. You can't really see that well, but there is an external hard drive under there. There's another hard drive there in the back. There's a powered USB hub there as well. So there's multiple powered USB hubs running this studio with tons of USB stuff all connected. So that's the setup we've got for today. Now that we've got all that out of the way, I know it looks like chaos. We've got the handheld mic out. So let's skip that and get back to my Rode microphone. And in the vocal booth, that microphone up there, that is a Steinberg M01 condenser mic that came with my UR22, same as the headphones that I'm wearing today as well. They are Steinberg headphones as well. So now that we've gone through all of the setup, but yeah, I will tell you, so the problem I was having with one of my cameras, you got to love this. I was running the camera in my vocal booth via USB with a USB extension cord, and every time I turned on my television, it would turn off the USB camera in the booth. One thing I will show you too, which I didn't, let's have a look at this. I'll just go back to my handheld. Look at that jumper. Look at that hole in the jumper. God, I'm such trash. It's Sunday. You got to forgive me. So inside the vocal booth, let's show you the other view of it, because you'll love this. Inside the vocal booth, let me just open the door of the vocal booth. Here is what you've got. So I have a monitor connected in there, and a keyboard and a mouse. There's an iPad in there as well, connected for reading vocals, and the microphone. And why is the monitor there? So the monitor is connected to this USB hub out the back here, this VGA monitor. So when I'm in there recording, I can see my iPad screen and control everything with my mouse. So I don't have to keep coming in and out of the vocal booth. So when I was setting up the vocal booth, I was struggling heaps to come up with an idea to be able to monitor stuff in there. And I just happened to have this crappy VGA monitor sitting around. And so instead of going out and spending a lot of money to get a specific monitor for it, it just goes to show, folks, use the crap you have laying around, because, you know, it's not perfect. It's VGA. It doesn't need to be high quality, but at the same time, it works perfectly for what you need it to work for, you know, and that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how ugly it looks, and it looks ugly as hell, but that's all good in the hood. So let's get this camera off me for a moment, and let's begin, shall we? So today we are going to look at a song called What Color. It's a song that's about 3/4 of the way through my album. It's had about 5 different variations throughout the years I've been putting together this album, and it began with some really fast punk drum beats at the start. Then I tried to put in these really odd drums, and last year, I think it was last year, I decided, you know what, just pull back the drums and make it a really slow and ballady kind of thing. So let's open GarageBand, because that's where we're going to start today. This is going to be crazy. Okay, so we have... now let's see if I can bring up... Let me check. I have a feeling. What color latest? So I've got a few of them here. And let's just make sure the volume's not too loud. There's quite a few versions of this particular song. So that's one of the older versions from about 2017, that one. So I just thought I would show you that just to get an idea of where the drums were. This is the mix of it right now with the current drums, but as you'll see, this version of it, let's just scroll through. So you'll see here, all I'm showing in relation to drums right now. We'll go full screen. In relation to drums, we have, oops, go away. We have 2 tracks by Kyle. Now, these are just hi-hats. So there's nothing technical there, just some basic hi-hats. Now you'll notice here the only other drum track here, this one's blank. Don't know even why that's there. This is just the kicks, toms, and snare, and probably cymbals, I think. Yep, cymbals, and any rides or anything like that. So this is just the track of me playing on my drum kit to the left of me to create these drum patterns in here. Now the one I'm going to be working on today is exactly the same. This is exactly the same song, but with all these drum tracks split. So let's have a listen to it from the start, just to hear the difference in drums. And it's a lot slower too. So if you've watched any of the other videos that I have done, there are links in the description. You can check out the drum video where I show how I split up these drum tracks to get to this. Now, as you will see, I have in this exact same as the last one, just all we have here are the drums split up into parts. So let's solo them and see. So you can still see I've got those up the top there. I still have these hi-hats by Kyle in there. Let's solo each one as we go, and we'll start there. So we've got some kicks. Third one down is toms. Sorry, I think that the ride is this one up here. That's a ride. Then we've got toms in here. And these second two are two different cymbals. So you can see I've got a SoCal kit for one cymbal and a live rock kit to give variation of cymbal hits. Because that's the problem with GarageBand. You only get one China to splash on your drum kit. So I'll always add another or a third China using a different drum. So now that those are all separated, okay, let's unsolo those. What else we've got? So we've got a stand-up bass as well. Let's solo that. And if it wants to solo for me. And we've got two acoustic guitars. G'day Cody, how you going? So one's finger picking and the other one's strumming. Now this strumming track is only a guide guitar track. Actually, once everything is transferred over into Auria Pro, I'll be replaying all this with my actual guitar. I won't be doing that today though. So that's that. Now you can see here I've got an electric guitar track here, but that's got a mute next to it, so clearly I'm not using that. Then we've got 3 piano tracks, so let's play each of those and see what's going on there. You may ask, why do I have those separate? So when I actually performed this part of the song, this was all in one piece, but I went ahead and went and chopped all this up into 3 separate parts. And there's, so in the chorus, there's this added one here. Let's show you that one. Because when I move them into Auria, I like to have total control over all the parts of the piano. So I want other bits to stand out and maybe the bass chords to have a bit more power than other sections. So that's the reason I break all of those up in this particular song. So we've also got some strings in here. So these are just strings from using GarageBand sound effects. And I've basically just used a virtual, very basic stuff there. But you'll see below that, I've got a whole lot of these music studio tracks. Now these music studio tracks were connected into GarageBand via Music Studio with iSymphonic connected. So, and I played those real time into GarageBand. So that's why they're already WAV files. So let's have a listen to those slowly being added in. So we got some horns. And that is an entire symphony with a string section, violin section. We've got, God, I can't even remember. But as you can hear, that's pretty huge. And that is the basic structure of the entire song. So that is it. So yeah, man, pretty large studio. G'day, Langston Reese. Welcome. You are here and you are late, but all good. So yeah, and that's the beauty of using iSymphonic. So you can actually build your parts and just, so there's, I think there's a, let's see, try and hear what the individual parts are. What do we got? So that last one, what's this? So there's a choir. Violins. That's a low orchestra with low brass. And just a high brass section. So how are we going to export these into Auria Pro? So there's a couple of ways you can do this, okay? Now what I'm first going to do, you notice down the bottom there are these two guitar tracks. Let's have a listen how bad these are because they're muted for a reason. Well, their volumes. What the hell? So someone was really stoned the night they did this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that guitar track. We're going to delete that. We're going to delete this one. We're going to delete this brass ensemble. No idea why that's there. What else have we got? There's another guitar track here. We're going to remove that as well. Bye. See you later. Wouldn't want to be. Adios, loser. And we've got this drum track right up the top here. Oh, God, I keep doing that today. We've got this drum track right up the top here. That is the original full drum kit just in one track that was performed. So I'm going to keep that muted. I don't really need it, but it's muted, so nothing's going to happen with it. Yeah, I'll leave it. Yeah, sure. I'll leave that in, man. That guitar. Wow. Horrible shit. So what we're going to do, so as I was saying, there's two ways we can go about exporting these. Now you can do it the slow and painful way where you have to just click on a track, solo it, exit, hit select, hit the button, export as WAV file. But there's a few of those we have to do. So I'm gonna try and do it this way, and if it fails, then we're just gonna have to do it the other way. But I hope it's gonna work. Hope it's gonna work. So it's worked for me in the past. So you'll know every time that you want to mix down an individual track or merge a track, it creates a backup of this file. So I will let you know, I did go ahead last night and remove about 150 gigabytes of music from my iPad Pro. So I have plenty of space today to mess around. So that's a really good thing, because this is going to make a backup every time I do this, right? And it's going to, I think each of these, this actual project is about 400 meg, I think. So, it's going to build up with each of these drum tracks. As you can see, what have we got? So we don't have to do these last ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't have to do the last 6, but we have to do any of these tracks that are midis. Okay, so what we have to do first to set everything up is jump in up here to our little effects section, and we have to go through each track and make sure everything is set to 0. All right, so I've got some panning here. You can see I'm going to leave that panning. Am I going to leave that panning? I'm going to actually reset the panning for these. And I just want to make sure everything is at 0. So no echoes, no compression, no nothing, because what GarageBand unfortunately does is that it compresses everything and it adds its own compression, and that sucks. Sure, it's good if you're just using it within GarageBand, I guess, but for what I'm doing, I'm not impressed. So as you can see, it looks like I've already done that. So the piano's got nothing. So none of these look like they have any kind of effects, except for this one here. This one does. So I'm going to reset all of those. What else have we got? So that one's not. This one needs to be reset. I'm just double touching those to reset them back to 0. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is merge down each track. And what will happen is it'll put it at the bottom. So I'll merge down from the top and work my way down, and each merged track will appear down the bottom as a brand new track. So we're going to start off, because these two tracks are both, let me just make sure, I'm sure that they're hi-hats. So that's a ride. Lucky I checked. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to merge this particular track. So yeah, I'm going to try and set all the volumes to around the same kind of area. They don't have to be exact, because as I said, GarageBand has its own theory on how it wants to merge stuff and create volumes and add compression and do all that jazz. Because look, it's a hindrance and it's a blessing, GarageBand, the way it does this. Because I mean, look, if you're not well versed at creating music, it's absolutely beautiful, because it helps people who haven't, who don't have experience maybe with compression or mixing down songs or any of that kind of stuff, because it kind of automatically does it for you. But for someone like me, who's, been around the block a few times, as they say, I don't really need Apple to do that for me. So I really wish GarageBand would just add this feature to take the training wheels off a little bit. So look, they're all around the same volume. And we're going to start with this hi-hat track. So I'm just going to click on where the drum. So I'm actually clicking on the drum kit. And you'll see it comes up with this merge feature. Now I only want to select that one. So just make sure one of them is checked. And you know what? We're going to do this first. Let me just go out of here. I'm going to hold down this, and I'm going to duplicate this, and we're going to start with number 2. Just so I've got a backup. If anything happens, I can go back later on. At least I know I've got a copy where it's all at this point. Most important point to be at. So I'm going to click on the drum kit. Going to hit merge. Make sure that track's done, and hit merge. And off it goes. And there's my render of the hi-hat. And just because I really should do the right thing, I'm going to go in here and rename all my files today. And I hardly ever do this. hi-hat. So you're just going to have to deal with that. But it's the right thing to do. So, you know, you really should go in and label all your stuff just for your sanity, you know. And we're all in lockdown at the moment. We've all been dealing with like all this pressure and unnecessary shit over the last few months. So why add any more stress to it by not labeling your stuff? So let's rename that. This is the ride. Not rude, ride. So I'm using my Apple Magic Keyboard. That's why everything's nice and easy. So this is the kicks, I do believe. Merge, kicks. Now the thing is, what you're not seeing here is in the background, GarageBand, every time I merge one of these files, is saving the project. It's saving another version of the project with the as it was before I merged, which is handy, I guess, sometimes. So these are kicks. Let's put in their name kicks. Now you'll see the beauty of me doing this. It is a lot faster, hopefully, than the normal way I would go about this. So we're going to merge this one. These are snare. So I'm going to use a series shortcut to actually export all of these in one go. And it's a series shortcut that C-On actually made, who is an awesome dude. And he actually made this and uploaded this series shortcut, which you can run and it'll just export all of the audio files that are in a project instantaneously. Now let's just check what this track is. Okay, so this is an extra snare hit to give the snare a bit of crackle, a bit of extra crackle in the choruses. So this is a snare 2, I guess. We're going to merge this one. Merge. Rename. We'll call this extra snare. Yeah, I wish there was a way, Tom, Rochelle, to be able to turn off the extra copies. But what you'll see I'm going to do as soon as I'm finished, I'm just going to go and delete them all. Because they just take up space, especially if they take up precious iCloud space. That is an absolute pain in the backside. So this track, I'm pretty sure is Tom's. Yep. So we've got some Toms. We're going to merge those. Sweet. Rename that sucker. Nice and easy. And once these are all done, so I will be exporting them into Audio Share. Now, what have we got here? These look like higher symbols, so they are symbols. So let's merge symbol 1. Done. We'll name that symbol 1. Sim 1. Now we're going to do Sim 2. So this is the whole drum kit complete now. Beautiful. Rename Sim 2, not Sim City 2. So look, it can be a really long and painful process, but ultimately, the reason we're doing this, the reason I'm moving this into Auria Pro and why I use Auria Pro is because of the reasons that I have said with GarageBand. When you mix down one of their songs, when you mix down a song in here, it does its own thing and adds its own compression and stuff. And I don't want that. I want more control over that, even though when I'm going to send these files out of here. And that's another reason why I'm doing it this way, why I'm actually going ahead and mixing them down in the actual project. Because when I run a series shortcut and it pulls the files out, it's stopping Apple from doing its mix down compression of each individual track. So that's why using a series shortcut is a much better way to go. You are avoiding Apple's fancy flavors that they put on this fantastic app. And I know a lot of people probably think I'm always bashing GarageBand, but I'm not. I use it all the time. It's an invaluable part of everything I do musically, because it's so easy to go in and use the virtual instruments or anything like that, or set up a basic template. So we're going to merge this one. This is the first guitar track. Call this guitar pick. Guitar pick. And this is the strumming guitar. I know this is boring as hell, but I wanted to make sure I'm showing you warts and all, everything that is going on, because, you know, sometimes it's the best way to do it. And I'm testing my skills as well to see if I can walk the walk, I guess. Guitar, strum. What are we up to? So we got piano 1, 2, and 3. We're going to merge the first one. Piano 1, 2, and 3. Piano 1. Look, see, there's not much left. We're doing okay. We're making good time. We're making good time. Piano 2. And, you know, you're going to see anyway, once I bring everything into Auria, I'm going to have to, you know, name all of those channels as well. The good thing is, as you import tracks into Auria, if your files already have file names, it kind of uses them when you import them. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to rename. I want to merge. Merge! So what's this? Piano 3. Piano 3. I mean, if there's any questions you have while we're going through this, feel free to throw them at me so I can answer them while I'm doing boring shit like this. This is piano 4. These are the choruses. Name. Cool, and what have we got left? So we've got this these strings. We'll call these GB strings. And okay, so there are all our tracks. What I'm going to do now is take, let's do it this way. See how all these keyboard tracks have gone, the symphony tracks have gone up the top. I'm just going to reorder them and put them back in the order that they were. Just drag them down, because it'll do an import, and it should, from my memory, import them in the order that they are set up in GarageBand, and I have them set up in a pretty standard template order that I use in GarageBand. So my drums are always at the top, followed by bass, followed by guitar, followed by piano, and then all the miscellaneous stuff comes after that. That's just the way I work. You can work however you like, because that's the world we live in. Cool, there we go. So now I can jump out of that. Now let's have a look. Look at all those. Look at all of those. Isn't that lovely? And look, they've all been saving to iCloud. Isn't that nice of Apple to do that for us? So what we're going to do is say thank you, Apple, but no thank you. Let's get rid of all of these. Don't know why I'm doing it that way. And I can just pull my finger down, and we can delete all of those. So they are all gone. Now, always remember to do this, because they're not gone, remember? Look, they're all here in the recently deleted folder. So I'm now going to go in here, select all of those, and delete those permanently. And look, if you saw my episode on files this week, you'll know that there's this fucking file that sits in my deleted folder called Cock and Balls. It's this fucking audio file from my death metal band, and no matter what I do, I can't delete it, man. Look at this. It just select, like it just won't disappear. It's been there forever. So every time I go to my deleted file, there's this file called Cock and Balls. It's just, man, I've had a gutful of it. An absolute gutful. So back to iCloud. And let's just make sure I deleted the right one. Yep. So everything is here. So this is my file. G'day, desolate morning. Good to see you. Okay, so I'm just going to have a vape and let's hope that this is going to work. So the file is called What Color Master, and so it's master to Auria 2. Okay, now I'm going to get out of this screen and we're going to open up my Siri shortcuts. I've had a gut full of cock and balls. Ah, dear. I should have really thought about that before I said it. Oh, man. Fuck. All right, so you'll see down the bottom here, I've got a few cool little things here. So this one is called Get Stems from .band Projects. And I've got another one here called Send Stems to GarageBand. So we're going to see if this actually works. So when I go into the little dots up here on the top of it, it shows you how this works. So you see here, this shortcut gets the audio files from GarageBand Logic project and either saves them into zips or saves them into an iCloud folder. It is important to note that GarageBand projects are coded to place samples in specific locations. If you want the full audio file, be sure to merge. So basically what that's saying is you can't export any MIDI files. So that's why I went ahead and converted all those into audio files. Okay, so let's give this a go. I hope it works because it's going to make life really easy. So all I should be able to do is click on that, and now it's asking me for the actual folder that I want. So it's this one here that has the little iCloud option on it. I'm going to click on that, and there you go. It's doing its thing. So file has been extracted but not yet deleted from iCloud. Did you want to save blah blah blah? No, we won't do that. So where has this gone? Where has it gone? That is the question. Let's find out where it has gone. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the Files app. And I'm not sure, so I'm going to hit date and I'm going to try and find where it went because I actually have no idea. Let's have a look through my folders here. It's probably gone into, this is fun, shortcuts. So you can see a GarageBand folder has been created there. How cool's that? So is it in projects? No, it's not in there. Stem extractor, temp folder. Media, I'm guessing. Nothing in there, so it's probably still in this temp folder. That looks like that's all of them there. What do you think? That is them. Merge tracks, they're all the same length. So let's play one of them and see what we've got. Just forward that. What do you know? Cool. Okay, so it's put them all in order. So it's just called them all merged tracks. But at least because we had them in order, we know what they are. So you can see merged tracks 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's given us these music studio files as well, which don't really matter because they're all symphony tracks. So that's pretty damn cool. Now it should be really easy for me to import all of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them and just move them to a nicer place than where they are currently. And I'm just running my finger down. So I'll just give you a bit of a view there with the handy cam. So you can just run your finger down to select all these things. I I could do that for hours. Fuck, my life sucks. So, so I'm going to move all these. Let's hit move, and we'll put them in a brand new folder. We'll put them, let's just hit move, and we'll put them on iCloud Drive, and we'll make a new folder called What Color Stems. There it is, and hit move, and we'll give it a little bit of time. Oh, we didn't even have to do it. Look at that. It just did it. Thank you very much. So let's go and have a look. What color stems? They're all in there, all WAV files, high quality. And the beautiful part is that we didn't have to individually do each file, and GarageBand didn't get a chance to fuck with them and put its compression on everything. So that's a really good thing. It's going to be super handy for what we're going to do next. So I'm going to have a quick drink of my gigantic bottle of water, which I'll show you here. Look at that. Look how big that bottle of water is. It's because I'm big boned. So has anybody got any questions so far of what we have been doing? Hopefully I'm explaining everything nice and clearly for you all. That is, what I say, you are completely right, Tom Rochelle, and I didn't even think of that. So thank you for pointing that out. So yeah, if I had have gone in and actually renamed each track instead of the GarageBand track, the actual WAV file, they would have had names. But I didn't think about that. So that was the first time I've really done a whole song that way before. So I'm learning as well. So thank you for pointing that out. You can teach an old dog new tricks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up Auria Pro, and we're going to start importing this stuff. But first, this is really important. When using Auria Pro and bouncing between two different doors, which I do a lot of, get rid of the stuff running in the background because it's just hogging up resources. Now I'm going to show you something that I use, and unfortunately I don't think you can get this app anymore, and it doesn't work as good as it used to work because it's such an old app, and because iCloud has been included now in our latest devices, and there's been so many iterations of iOS since this was really useful. But I've stuck with this because it does one thing really good. It does two things really good. Just let me explain. So this will be sideways, unfortunately. Oh no, it actually has flipped around. So this is a little memory cleaner, right? Now, as you can see, it shows my disk down the bottom there, and it's only saying I've got 13.3 gigabytes free, which is utter bullshit. I've actually got about 103 gigabytes free. But that's the problem with this app. Because it's such an old app, it doesn't take in the iCloud space and the way iOS actually operates now. And I've been using this so long, I actually know the ratio. So about 13 is normally about 110 gigabytes. So I've actually worked out the ratio of what that stands for. But it's this top one. See up the top, so you've got two scans here. And it's the top one that I'm more worried about right now. You can see that active, there's 2 gigabytes active, and it's showing you what's free, what resources are free. So I will always just hit a scan up the top here, and I want to free up as much space as I have for my RAM, because that is the top memory. And that has given me some space. It is freed up so nearly 3 gigabytes of space, just to make sure that I've got plenty of RAM immediately that I'm going to open the next door. So it's just one of these apps is really cool to have, just to do that instantly, because normally you would have to do a hard reset to really clean out any of the cache RAM. And that way you're going to not run into not as many problems with using AUV3 plugins and such, because they really hog up resources. And if you know, one of these apps is really cool too, that if you are running a whole bunch of AUV3 plugins in your DAW, you can just pop this open and just do a quick cleanup and clean up any cache that may be lurking around, ghosting around in the memory. So that's why I use something like that. But as I said, that particular one, can't get it anymore, but there's heaps of knockoffs. The problem is with the knockoffs, and why I don't want to get another one, is they're all kind of made by really unknown developers. They're normally from Vietnam and stuff. You can't read properly about them. They may be in Chinese or something like that. So I just know this one works, and I don't want to risk another one. But stop jibber jabber jabber jibber 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 jabber jabbering. Let's open up Auria Pro. But first, let's open up the Files app, because I want to make sure the Files app. So what I'm going to do is just open it and close it. Now you'll see, I didn't even need to do that. Let's open up Auria. Okie doke. Now I'm going to pull up the toolbar down the bottom here. I'm going to grab the Files app. I'm going to drag it up onto the top, over the top of the door, and then let go. And that, as you can see, has given me all my stems here. So I've got access to all my stems, and I can quite easily drag these across into the project I'm about to open. So I can just flick that off the screen for now, because I know it's available to just pull in anytime I want off to the side. Now, normally my Auria Pro, when I hit load, has a whole lot of projects here, but I removed something like 50 projects yesterday from here, so I just have the basic ones I'm kind of working on at the moment. So we're going to create a brand new project. Now I have a whole lot of templates set up, and if you want to go back and have a look at my Auria Pro videos, there's a link in the description to all of those, which shows you how to set up a one of these. So we're going to what we're going to do, a new project. So it shows you how to set up templates. So this song is What Color, and where are we? So it is the 23rd, the 8th, 20, and I'm going to select, what have we got? Oops, don't want 8 MIDI tracks. That's ridiculous. I want this one, new song. I think it's new song. Just make sure and hit save. And this should open 24 tracks for me. It did. Nice. So as you can see, it's basically opened up 24 tracks with the first few named. So that's my drum kit. So I always try to have those named. It's actually created a sub channel here, a sub number 2, which has drums written there, so I can put all the drums into this sub channel. And you will notice across the top here, all these effects buttons are lit up. So it's already got locked in one of my presets called Vocal Mix New, which is what I put across all of my tracks, just so everything's nice and crisp and loud, and then later on I can go back and change that. So every track has, if I just click through them, you can see it changing here. Channel strip 3 hats. As I click through, they all have the same setup. So there's a compressor on there, there's an expander and an EQ. And that is 24 tracks, plenty to work with. You will notice too, they are all, I'll show you, up the top here you can tell if a track is stereo or a mono track, because there's normally a little stereo thing that will appear right here. These are all mono at the moment. Now I did forget a process, a part of my process, so I'm going to have to go and do that right now. So let's do this. It's a little bit of a pain, but I'm going to take, let's open the Files app. So the first 2 tracks, where are we? So we had hi-hat, ride, and then we had a kick. This should be a kick. Cool. So 3, 4, so we want these 3 tracks. Number 1, hi-hat, number 3, kick, number 4, snare, and this number 5, which is a second snare. I'm actually going to move these just quickly into audio share. Now you don't have to do this, but this is something that I do. So now I'm going to go into audio share. If you don't have audio share, you should, because it's awesome. And all of these are AIF files, as you can see here. And I just want to make sure that they are all mono. So let's test the water here. They all look okay from here. So here's my track view. So here's my desk view, which you can change up the top here. And here is my WAV project file, so you can see all the WAV files. Now I'm going to bring across this, and I'm going to just drag in one of the tracks. So we're going to go with the kicks first, which is track number 3. I'm just going to drag it in. It's very easy to import. Now, as you can see, if I zoom in now on this, this has been imported as a stereo track. I don't want that. I don't want that for the kicks. I actually want so now if I go back to this track view, can you see here how this little button's been added up the top here, which makes this a stereo track. So whenever you add a stereo track into Auria Pro, it adds this little button. And all the ones without it are mono tracks. So what I'm going to have to do now is go in here, and I'm going to say goodbye to this track. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with us. That was fun. I'm going to grab number 7 here. I'm going to bring this up to the top. Let's get it up to the top. Oh, I don't want it to go down there. All the way to the top. God damn. Let's move the snare down. Cool. I'm going to rename this track and make it. Let's rename it. So we want kick. And now I'm going to have to go back into here. I'm going to have to turn these tracks into mono tracks. Okie doke. So this is the hat. So I'm going to hit tools up the top here. I'm going to hit convert. I'm going to choose mono. Wave file, that'll do. And hit save. So that is that done. That is the done. Now we have where are we? So it's a kick. Cool. So let's do this kick. Convert. Now it remembers the settings. Okay, so I can just hit save for the next one. So now we're going to do, these are the snares. Yep. Tools, convert. Thank you. And the last one, number 5, this is the ride. No, this is the extra snare, sorry. I'm going to convert that. And we'll leave all those there for now because I can import. Let's go back to this door. Bring in the files app here, and what I'm going to do instead of, we're going to go to audio share, and I'm going to import the drums from here. So first we have kicks, which is merge track 3. So we'll bring that in. Cool, you can see now that is a mono track. Lovely. Good, 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 good. Now we want snare. You can come in there. We want this second snare. And I'm clearly going to have to rename these. And then we want the hats. Now I'm just going to grab each one, move them all back to the start so they're all even. And we should have, if I turn up the sound, cool. So we've got the beginnings of the drums, and let's bring in next. So we want, what's next? Should be, just make sure these are toms. Maybe not. That's the extra snare. So that was 5. So 6 should be toms. Let's make sure they are toms. They sure are. Now we can just follow everything in pattern. So toms. Now I'm just going to have to go back to track 2 to get the ride. Lucky I'm remembering all these numbers so you don't have to. Okay, so that's the first set of cymbals. That was number 6, so we're up to 7. This is the second set of cymbals. We'll just make sure that's all good. Sweet, and from here on in, I'm just going to add everything else, all in order. So we should be up to number 7. 7. 8, so these are bass and piano tracks. 9. 10. Now, and I can see, so Langston Reese has written, like, that's a lot. And it is a lot of work doing this. It's definitely a lot of work. But it depends on how different you want the quality. Right? And again, I'm not knocking GarageBand because, as you can see, I use it all the time. But I just feel that I can get a much better sound, much better production using something like Auria Pro because of the vast amount of options that are available to me, and a master track and all of the beautiful things within there. So as you can see here, I've only got 15 tracks, so I'm definitely going to have to add a few more tracks. 12, 13, 14. So let's go in and add some extra tracks. And how am I going to do that? Click on menu, add track, mono tracks. Let's add, what have we got? Probably 10, because we're going to need some vocals as well. And there's a whole bunch of new tracks. So up to 14, 15, 16. That should be all of the actual GarageBand stuff. Now we've got this music, all these music studio tracks. So I'm going to go by numbers here. Maybe let's have a look at what we've got. I'll just play some of them. Cool, so they are running by not particular order. So let's just throw them in willy-nilly, I reckon. Doesn't really matter because I can move them around. So 89, 78, 22, 63, 6 and 3. Sound like I'm doing bingo. Anyone want to yell bingo? 6 and 3, 28 and 37. Time is it? So we've been here an hour. Good. And that is all the tracks have now been exported into here. So we can scoot that away. And let's drag each one of those into position, and then we can go ahead and name all of them so we know where they're all sitting, what's what, and then we can start mixing down, get a basic mix, and then we can start adding some vocals to them. And because this is the hard bit, I mean, this is the sucky bit, the painful stuff that I wanted to show you all today. But once you've got this done, it's all saved in here and everything else is cherry on top. All right, so you just got to put in those tough hours to get like a result like this. Now let's pull all the volumes down, please, because I don't want to blow anyone's head off with volume. All these down, all the subs. Now you'll notice here I've got my floating meter pop up here. This is invaluable, so to get that to pop up on your master track, you can just click on the meter. So you've got this wherever you are. Very cool. I'm going to bring this down to about 10, and let's start by playing through and naming the stuff and seeing what's where. So the drum should kick in first. Now all you do to name these is just down the bottom here, just double click. And you can rename them, nice and easy. Snare, hats. What have we got? No, toms. Oops, I'm wrong. This is hats. This is snare 2. Yep. These are toms. Ride. Cymbal 1. And cymbal 2. Great, so our drums are set up. So the next track is going to be our bass, I'm assuming. Oh no, that's another cymbal. What have I done here? So I've got two of the same thing there. Smart cookie I am not. Okay, we'll just stop that for now. Widen these up a bit. So where are we? So I've got two cymbals, unfortunately, and I'm going to have to get rid of one of them. Where is it? It's this one here. You can go bye-bye. So let's select you and hit delete. Cool, you're gone. Now let's keep going here. So we've got... oops. So this will be a cymbal 2. And this will be a bass. And the next two will be guitars, I assume. So let's go back to the start. Pianos. Piano 4 there. That's in the choruses, so we'll put CH for that one. Call this GarageBand strings. Horns. Call this strings. I'm just going to name the rest of these just strings 3. Cool, I'm just going to go over the end there. I think that last one is the choir, if I'm correct. Let's have a listen. Yep. And that should be all of the tracks. And it is. Cool. So let's have a listen through, shall we, of the whole song, and we'll get a mix going. And we'll see how we go. What I'm going to do first is just scroll down to here, and I'm going to get a auto return selected, so every time I hit stop it'll go back to the start or the last place that I was at. It's just something I'll always try and do. And we've got minutes, seconds set up. Cool, so that's all good. So let's have a listen. That's interesting, isn't it? Let's have a look at these files here, because I think I'd love live streaming, because look what it does. So everything's in line there. It looks like what I have done is, as you can see, come in way too early with some of these. So these studio tracks here should, where are we? This should be the start of the track. Joyous, that's fun. So there's my first mistake. And you know what? Mistakes make things better. Apparently, that's what I say. So let's have a look at what I've done. Can anybody guess what I've done? It should be pretty clear to see what I have done. Can you pick it looking here? I can see it. So they are tracks. We want this track here. The horns. they come in too early. So we want the horns to actually match up with these. And the reason this has happened is I've exported these without making them the same length as all the rest of the tracks. So this one here and this bottom one, I've not made full tracks. 2 tracks are not syncing at the beginning. So that is my error, and I should have mixed this one down. I should have mixed this down and that one down, and that would have been much better. So we can do that right now though. So let's try doing that. In fact, so now that we've got it selected here and soloed, we can just go out of here, hit select, choose this what color track, hit share, and then go in here and share it as a WAV file into, and we'll just export that track. G'day Pete, you are late, you know what to do. And you've just got here as I have monumentally fucked up. But that's the fun of this thing, because I've picked it up. And that's the beauty of living in a home recording studio. Because if you were paying somebody $500 an hour right now and this happened, that would suck balls, wouldn't it? So, I mean, I have got 2 options here too. And I'm taking probably the easy way out. I could just go in to Auria Pro and shift the 2 files back to around the place that I think and match it up as close as possible. Or I can do what I'm doing here. And I can export just these 2 tracks. So the front part of the WAV file will be added in. And as you can see, it's not taking too much time. It's only 2 tracks. I'm going to copy them to Audio Share. So there it is. So that's cool. And now let's go back into GarageBand and grab that other track. And so it's this one down here. And this is the choir. So it's the choir track and the brass track that we need to remove in Auria Pro. So once again, I'm going to close this out, hit select. What I will do first, just make sure I did solo it. Yep. So I've soloed the last track in here. We're selecting it again, and we're going to share it once more as a uncompressed WAV file. Going to hit open in and let it do its magic. So, and I didn't think I'd go through today without, making a mistake. I was hoping that I would be making mistakes, so you don't have to. That's why I'm doing this. So you can see that even somebody who's like seasoned and done this so many times still makes simple basic mistakes like this, but it's no problem, because you can just go back and fix it. And hey, if stuff like this, and I'll be honest, I used to have some very deep anger issues before I started taking estrogen. So I know a lot of you naturally have testosterone and can't change that. But no, I used to have very deep-seated anger issues. So something like this quite a few years ago, if this had happened, I probably would have started throwing shit around going, fuck! But if that's how you are, just walk away. Take a break for 10 minutes and come back and fix it, because it's only going to take, as you're seeing, a few extra minutes. I'm going to save this into here, and there they are. So they're all both here now. What are they? 2 and 1. So now I can just go back, and what I should do is say what I told you to do earlier on. Close out GarageBand, so you're freeing up that memory if you're going back into Auria Pro. Close out Audio Share, because you don't actually need that. Now, so this is the track here. This last track, let's solo it and make sure it is the one. And it should be this choir. Yep. So now we can safely go in here and remove this choir. Delete that. You're gone. And the other track, I do believe, let's solo, try and find the right one. I think it's this one, the horns. I hope. Let's see how, if we get rid of the horns, how everything sounds. Why do they all sound off? Everything else is fine. So what I'm going to do is we're going to remove these horns. We're going to bring these in now. So where are we? Audio share. And it was, we did the horns first. Let's see how we go. Ho ho ho. Okay. Cool. I actually bought in the, didn't I? I bought in the choir first. So let's try this now. As you can see, what I'm doing is, so all these files, these other files have come in slightly out. Interesting. So what we have discovered is that importing those other files using that Siri shortcuts method has created issues. So all the rest of the music is fine, but everything else came out incorrect. Now it probably is because, and we can fix that very easily too. Let's try this. What I will do is jump back into the Files app here and go ahead and look at iCloud, into Shortcuts, GarageBand. So it was in Stem Extractor, Media. So I think we moved them out of there, so that's cool. So they've all gone from there. Just going to go back into Auria Pro because this is something I haven't come across. See, I would normally do it the way that I would do it and slowly do each individual track, but today, as we did it a totally different way, this is all new to me, and clearly we have some issues. So let's just unsolo and hear how everything is at the moment. Okay, so for now, that is the best. I'm going to get it right for now. So later on, I will have to go in and make sure everything is aligned much tighter. But for now, that is as good as we shall get it there. So let's do a mix down, starting with the drums and the bass. That's what we're going to do first. That has wasted a little bit of time, and then we're going to do some vocals and call it quits. And the reason I've done this show today, I will just say, is this is what I'm going to be doing on my Patreon, going through all of my songs. Now, the rest of them, I won't be importing them from GarageBand into Auria Pro because they are already there. And this one is already there actually as well. But I thought I would do this one again today because just to show you, because we have done shows on Auria Pro, how to show you to import stuff from GarageBand into here and make it work. And as you can see, it hasn't been perfect, but we have it good enough for now. So the rest of my stuff on Patreon, everything has already been exported into Auria Pro, and we won't be doing all the whole GarageBand exporting stuff earlier in other shows. But this today was just to show you of what we'll be going through in those shows. And it's been riddled with mistakes, and mistakes make it better. So let's get down to looking at these drums and bass and try and get a decent mix just with these. And then we can look at the piano and the guitars next. So we're going to solo all of these first instruments, all of the drums here and just the bass, and kick it back to the start and see what we get. What have I got? I've got something else soloed, have I? What have I got? Because there's no guitar. Cool. Sure, Pete, I'm willing to take the blame. Pete has just said in the chat, I should be practicing for the happy hour, so if I'm shit, blame Jade. Blame me for everything! I'll just take it all on. Cool, so what we've got now is just a basic mix there, so we can hear everything. But now, as you'll tell, I really don't like these, and this is another reason I'm importing this into Auria Pro. I really can't stand these kicks. So what are we going to do? We're going to open up the kicks. And so the kicks are soloed here. Just hit play on here, and we're just going to have the kicks playing in the background. And I'm going to open up this channel strip here and going to add in my first effect for the day. I'm going to turn off this expander as well. And I'm going to use Drumagog. Now remembering the kick, snare and hi-hat are set to mono. So both the snares as well. So I'm going to hit Drumagog 5 mono. Hang on, what's happened there? My kick has turned into a snare. That's not right. And now I'm going to scroll down to my kicks. I'm going to try and find a really punchy, clicky kick. That's definitely not what I want. All right, so that's getting closer. Bit too clicky, I think. What we got? So I'm just going through my kicks here. That's definitely not what we want. It's a pretty bouncy. Yeah, I'm digging that for now. So that can be our kick for now, because it doesn't have many effects on it or anything like that. And now I'm going to add in the snare, and we're going to try and get a better snare sound. So again, we're going to add Drumagog, and And we're going to hit the mono drumagog. Hit snares. And that's the snare I'm going to choose because this is the snare I've been using on nearly all the tracks in my album. And I want things to kind of sound consistent across the album. So that will do for now. We can add some effects to that later. And we're going to add in these hats. Maybe. So we've got a ride here. Now you'll know that I've doubled up in these choruses. There's doubled snares. So let's have a listen to that snare. Now what I'm going to do here is show you a trick. And I saw Pete, while Pete was using Auria Pro last week, he was struggling with this. Now if you're still here, Pete, does this look familiar? Let's see if I can get it to happen. There we are. What's this thing, Pete? Sitting up here. This annoying thing that you couldn't get rid of in your video. You were like, what is this thing? So this is your loop. So if you can set this to be a loop. So just move that. Come on. And I only want this section of these drums. Let's actually take it towards the end here. So I'm going to start this around here. So now when I hit play, and make sure we've got loop set up. It should when it gets to the end, keep repeating in between these markers. So this is your loop, so you can keep going over a section and you don't have to keep stopping and going back. So now what I want to do is I want to try and get a snare sound for this second snare. To give it some punch. And we're going to hit drumagog 5 again. I want to hear how this one sounds, this Fairview one with this. So we definitely don't want that one. This is the one I want. Cool. So the reason I have that second snare in there for this chorus is just to give it a different feel, because I've got some really weird tom fills in this song that when you hear it all together, they kind of don't sound right, but they do. Whoops. So we're going to play with the toms just a little bit now. Because they sound horrible. They sound absolutely disgusting. So let's bring in some drumagog on here. So stereo drumagog. And where are we? Toms. Here we go. All these rack toms. That's what I want. we're just going to take out some of the high end out of these. That's actually what I want. So I want some real beefy toms in this. So as you'll notice here, what I'm going to do is pull down all these tracks here at the end, and once these are all down, I'm going to add in, you'll notice that the effects across the top here, because these are all new tracks that I haven't added, so I'm just going to go in and add my usual effects that I normally will add, my template across the board, which should give a more even mix with all of these symphonic sounds. And me adding all of these, they're all pretty low intensive, like I have no AUV3 plugins or anything like that added as yet. And you know, for just your simple mixing, you don't want to add all that stuff in. You want to add all that stuff in last, or your AV3 plugins, all that kind of stuff, because you want to be able to not use up as much resources as possible. So let's go back to the start, and to get rid of these bars here, Pete, for you just double click on the timeline, and there you go. Oh, now I can't get rid of them. There you go. Gone. So let's have a listen to, and I'll bring in the orchestra as we go. Cool. Now, I am not doing a complete mix down of this. All I really needed to do today was get this into this Auria Pro, so I have a basic mix down, which you can see it's nice and clear. Not everything's standing out and popping out, and all the frequencies haven't been messed with yet, but it's enough for me to lay some vocals. So in the last 10 minutes or so, we're just going to go into the vocal booth and we're going to lay down some vocals and see how we go. Now I'm probably going to use, what have I got here? So we've got 2 tracks, and I'm probably going to add another track. So let's do that now. So we'll add another track, and we're going to add my usual FX to all 3 of these tracks. So we have 3 tracks here to play with, and I'm going to arm it. So it's set to record, and it's set to input 1, which is the microphone that's in there. And as you can see, on the meter there, we're getting some sound. So that's cool. So I'm going to head in there and set the camera up. And I do apologize for looking like shit today, but I just kind of got up and threw on a beanie and my glasses, and such is life. So we're going to crank up the volume there. So if I turn down again, so we've got some sound coming through. That's cool. Let me jump on my hand mic. So I'm on my hand mic now. So we got cameras here. Yo, how you going, everyone there? So I'll go in there and I'll be controlling everything from, as I showed you at the beginning of this. Let's show you one more time. I'll pull back the curtain on my studio, and that's what's going on in there. So I have a mouse and keyboard and a monitor, so I can control the iPad from inside the vocal booth, and there is a camera in there as well. Well, there was. It looks like it's not working now. Oh no, it's working, I think. Is it still working? No, it's not working. I love this shit, man. All right, so let's see if I can fix that, and let's move this camera. We'll go in. I knew this was going to be full of technical problems because I'm always trying to do way too much. So here we go. Hello. So this is the microphone that's running through Auria Pro now, and let's see if I can get this camera working now. And it's not working. That's good. That's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. No. All right, so that's a fail. But what we can do is bring in my other camera and do my best to get this to work. Let's see. So let's put this up here. Bear with me, folks. I'm doing my best. What I'm going to do is pop this camera up here, and hopefully this will work. Flying by the seat of my pants here. You'll have to deal with it. We've got only about 10 minutes left, so you won't have to deal with it for long. Let's now click over to here. And as you can see, my camera's died over there inside. And so hopefully you can see me here. And I can't really see if that's working or not. Let's see. There I am. So cool. That'll have to do for now. So I've just got my lyrics set up here on my iPad, and let's do some recording. So I'm now going to ditch this microphone. And you should be able to hear me now. So let me know if everything's okay. You can still hear me. And we shall give this a go. Now I'm using my mouse and everything in my vocal booth. So I'll just check, make sure everything's all good. Somebody tell me I'm all good. You can hear me. Or everything's okay. Hello? Someone? Are we still on the air? Is everything okay? I'll take that as yes. All good. Cool. Thanks. Cool. So now I'm going to go back to the start here, and we're going to test the vocals here. So we'll hit play. Make sure everything's working. Now, I'm not using my ideal microphone. I'm actually using my Steinberg microphone. So we'll hit play. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, what color am I? Some shade of brown, some hue of tan, perhaps the soft shades of sandy beaches, or the deep richness of fertile earth. And what cool. So basically we have everything coming through okay. What I'm going to do is sing each verse on a different track. So let's throw this microphone down here. I'm just going to fiddle with the sound a bit with the effects on here and just chuck in some reverb. Okay, that's way too much. Ooh, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh, yeah. And I'm just going to check the buffer size. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Cool. What I might do is throw on this reverb instead. Yeah, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, cool. So there's a slight reverb on here. And lyrics in front of me. So let's just go through. I'm going to add a bit more bass to this just for now. Pull out some of these tops. Yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. And we shall do a quick recording just to make sure that the levels are okay. And so we'll go into our channel view here. And looks okay. We'll hit record and just do a vocal test. 1 sec. Okie doke. So we hit record. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, my, yeah. Cool. So the levels look okay there. And let's do a take and see how we go. What color am I? riches or the deep richness of fertile. So that's the first track I'm going to do. Now what I've done there, thinking that I'm just going to have to go back into my settings and bring down the latency, because you can hear there's pops and stuff now that I'm recording, and we definitely don't want those. So now what I'm going to do is take this track here and just move it down to the track below instead of setting up another recording track. And that's good. So now we're just going to record the second verse in there. And that wasn't perfect, but that's not what this is about. So let's set, so with second chorus, second verse. And what of that which is deeper, the bluish gray somber moods, crimson depth of pumping blood. So we'll try that again because I fucked up the lyrics. And one more go. And what of that? And what of that which is deeper, though is the color of my core, crimson depth of pumping blood, moistened iridescent of tissue and bone. Is this my true color? Cool, so now we're going to bring this one, we're going to grab that track and drag that down to the one below, and then we'll do the final track here. And what of that which is less tangible, the bluish gray of somber moods, deep green envy, bright red rage, or the yellow flares of mirth and joy. Again I ask, what color am I? Again I ask, what color am I? Again I ask, what color am I? Again I ask, what color? Cool. So there we are. Horrible takes, not perfect at all, but you can hear being in the sound booth room, in my little sound booth room, it's really dead in there, absolutely dead sound. So you're getting a really dead flat mix, and you can see here, like, I haven't peaked on anything there, so nothing's really peaked out. Everything's kind of okay there. You can work with a lot of that stuff. I would go in here definitely to this actual track, split this, because this is a much lower track. Definitely kind of move that down to this other vocal track. Let's hear what they all kind of sound like as well. I mean, of course I would go back and double up all of these tracks, but this again is just to show you how simple it is to pull off something like this. Some shade of brown, some hue of tan, perhaps the sun, shades of sandy beaches or the deep richness of her time. And what of that which is deeper than is the color of my core, crimson depth, pumping blood, moistened iridescence of tissue and bone. Is this my true color? And what of that which is less tangible, the bluish gray of somber moods, deep green and free, bright red rage, or the yellow flares of mirth and joy. Again I ask, what color am I? 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 Cool bananas. So that's it for today. I'm glad if you've got anything from this, I'm glad you have, because I've got a heap from it myself. This is just me experimenting more today on how I'm going to run the Patreon and getting everything in order. So that's really what it was today. Not really trying to finish off and get the perfect song here. As I said, I've already got this song that has been imported into Auria Pro. I already have a really close to finished version, which and once I start this Patreon off, it's more going to be doing vocals and guitars, because everything's pretty much close to being mixed, and there's just got to be some final compression and stuff added to it. So that's all this has been today. So as you can see, it is a little time consuming to import these things in, but the flexibility and control that I have now that they're all in here is really vast. There's so much I can do going from here to really brighten up all these sounds and get a much bigger sound than GarageBand. So thank you very much, all of you, for hanging out. This week on the show, I still am not decided. I'm either starting tomorrow my look at Cubase's 3 or not. So would you like me to do that tomorrow? Do you want me to start my look at Cubase's 3? It's up to you guys, man, because there's a few apps I was going to look at before then, because as you can see here, I have Bark Filter I was going to look at. There's a new compression app as well. Plus, I have a developers app, an app that's still in development too. I was going to have a look at and see how that's working as well. So it's really up to you. Sound off in the comments if you want me to look at Cubasis 3 this week and get into it while Pete's still looking at, I think he's still looking at Auria Pro. I'm not sure, Pete, if you're still here. Are you still doing Auria Pro? I'm guessing that you are. But either way, I will decide over today if I'm going to start on Cubasis, because I really want to do that for myself, because I want to challenge myself as well, because I haven't really used Cubasis 3 much at all. But there you go. That's it for today. Look, if you got any value out of today, please do the usual stuff. So like, share, subscribe, all that bizzo. And I do know that people who watch this channel, I see that there's like 41% of you aren't subscribed. But so subscribe. You can come to the Facebook page, and that is the Patreon address. Soon it will be available, I'm guessing next week, now that I've done this test and can get everything set up. So it's patreon.com/Starr, and that is it. I hope you all have a wonderful end to your weekend, and I will see you all in about an hour's time over on Pete's channel for the happy hour to listen to some music, and I can de-stress. And you know what? I'm going to have my first coffee for the morning because I haven't had one, and it's killing me. So once again, everybody, thanks for hanging out, and I will see you tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.